Hey guys, Toxic here. As another Toxic Talk, so it'll also show some commissions that I've been working on. You've probably seen this one before. It's the Plague Brute for Seb. It's been a long time coming, but it's been ready to go for a while. But we've also been working on the Hell Brute over here. So here's the Hell Drake. Sorry, this is the Hell Brute or the Plague Brute. The drum on the back full of sludge or whatever it's gonna be. It's a missile launcher las cannon setup. Got the guy hanging out of the brute itself. And then we have the Plague Drake. So yeah. Down a little bit. So this one was made out of just basically parts from the Helldrake. So you have the body, and then this is part of the wings, which I turned it into more of a tail piece. Then you got this little fleshy tail. You have the Balrog wings from the Lord of the Rings model. There's a Lehman Russ turret that I'm using as the Bale Flamer. In this case it's meant to be like some toxic sludge, and then all the rest of the parts that were missing I kind of just sculpted in this kind of beast style flesh, put some horns in there. Then underneath you got where I sculpted the wings into the mechanical kind of chest piece, and then you got the sludgy base with just some kind of trench kind of boards. I just kind of wanted to break up. This one there's a lot of green. I kind of wanted to stay away from that, so I kind of broke it up. I like it at any rate. But I'm gonna go over with Seb, make sure he likes how everything is before we send it over him. But there you go. You got the two pieces there. Very nice looking pieces. So I thought I'd just show you that first before we kind of got into anything. Get my camera set up here. So, what I really want to talk about today, not too much, just kind of want to show off those pieces and kind of also mention the rumors that I kind of talked about with fantasy becoming more like 40k. There's a bit of discussion on that, when I brought it up, and I just, would like to kind of talk about that a little bit more. It's a tough one, because it is one of those things where you're either going to be for it or really against it. And a lot of things that I see is people talking about the movement side of it, and it looks like they are still going to keep the formation movement. There's going to be, as far as the rumor says, and that's at this point it's just a rumor, but why not talk about it, right? They say that there's going to be basically one rule set but two books. So you have the one rule set, but you have the book for fantasy and the book for 40k with the differences in it. Obviously the movement is going to be a difference. There's still going to be formations. As far as I can tell, there is not going to be a speed difference in the army movement itself. So certain races won't move at different speeds. However, you'll have things like initiative and kind of fleet of foot, those type of rules that give you a bonus to your moving to indicate that you're faster. Because obviously in 40k it's a little bit different in the movement, where in fantasy it's all about getting into position and getting those charges off and all that, where in 40k it's a little bit different. But obviously an Eldar is going to move faster than a guardsman, but they still move at 6 inches. I don't really play fantasy in the games that I have played. I did notice that the moving is kind of a key thing, but the other thing that in the rumors they were saying that you could go around in formations, but you can also go into a loose formation, which is kind of like skirmishes, but skirmishes is a rule. A loose formation is something anyone can do, where they break formation, and it gives them a bonus in the sense of, well, they don't have a flank that they can kind of get charged on, but they don't get rank bonuses. So you can kind of break up your army into these more 40k like formations. Let's see. I mean, again, it's a tough one to kind of talk about because people are not going to like the change, but I just want to talk about why I think they would be making a change if this is true. I mean, it's obvious that fantasy is not as popular, and people will obviously, you know, it's seen in sales of games. You know, people think that it's because sci-fi is more popular. I would like to believe that it's not because sci-fi is more popular. It's more in the sense of, well, the top 5 games, 3 of them are sci-fi, but then 2 of them are Star Trek and Star Wars, which are going to be popular, you know, forever. It's just one of those things. And then War Machine and Hordes are both more, you know, fantasy, more of a steampunk fantasy, but it's still fantasy. And they're doing well, so I don't think fantasy's not doing well just because it's not sci-fi. And then when it comes to, you know, Games Workshop supporting one and not the other, they're a business and they're always going to support what is going to be making them money. Space Marines are always going to have, you know, top support because they're going to sell Space Marines. For a long time, Dark Elder had a really, really old codex, and they just never got an update because it was too much of a risk for them to throw in the money in making the models and supporting a release. When are they going to get the money back? Luckily, Dark Elder kind of got popular after the new release, and I think it did show Games Workshop at the time that they could support these older armies and make money off them. But when you have a game like Fantasy that is not making money like 40k, why? I don't know if myself, if I was running a business, if I would want to be putting a whole bunch of support into a game that's not making me money. In this terms of, I don't want to risk throwing money into it and not getting, you know, back, you know, what I wanted. And there's been a lot of fantasy releases, there's been a lot of 40k releases, there's been a lot of releases in general recently, and I like to think that Games Workshop is smart enough to decide where they should be putting their efforts in the terms of keeping the company going, because, I mean, obviously we want them to stay around to be supporting this hobby that we all play. Another thing that I kind of was thinking was they have to do something. Obviously they're in a situation where fantasy is not making them the money that they want, and they have to go out there and do something, and why not do this? Why not simplify the rules and streamline it so the rules are very similar? 2 different games, 2 different, completely different games, but the rules are similar enough where you can play one and understand the other. Not know how to play it, but understand it. You understand the core mechanics. You understand weapon skill, ballistic skill, toughness values, armor saves. You know, the movement in a sense of this will move that many inches, that will move that many inches. Wheeling and all those formations will just come after that. And I think if this is true, I really can't say anything negative about it, coming from a sense of getting more people into fantasy, because that's why I don't play, because there's not enough people to play with me. I'm not going to throw $500 into an army that's going to sit there and not get any use if I can't go down to my local store and pick up a game. I used to live next to a Games Workshop. I was, you know, a 10-minute drive from a Games Workshop, but I couldn't get a fantasy game in, so I never brought any fantasy models because there was no point. 40k was a game that I could easily pick up a game in, and it's not a better game. 40k isn't a better game. I mean, hands down, there's games out there. I personally, the rule set itself, I really like War Machine and Hordes. I think it gives you enough freedom in why you're playing, but also it's strict enough and, you know, well done enough where the rule set matches a tournament setting, whereas 40k is kind of feels really loose and wishy-washy and doesn't support that strict play in a tournament scene. On just the way that I've played in tournaments, I feel like there's a lot of how does this work, how does that work. Where in War Machine, I really feel like the rules are kind of, well, that's the rule. And I love 40k, but yeah, it's not a better game, but it's popular and it's making money. And if you can get another game like Fantasy to be popular by catering more to those players that are playing that more popular game, why wouldn't you do that to bring life into this game? And that's really all I have to say about that. And it's probably just a rumor. It's probably not going to happen. But that's my thoughts. Is I would do whatever I could to increase the player base of this game. Because they got rid of the specialist games. Next you might see them getting rid of Fantasy, Lord of the Rings, and then what does Games Workshop have? 40k. And there is a lot. 40k is the top in sales. It's the top tabletop wargaming game out there. And if you can tap into that and bring your Fantasy up in line with 40k, why not do it? And that's really my last thoughts on that. I'm just going to leave it there because it is going to be a heated kind of topic between people for and against it. And until we know if those rumors are true or false, all we can really do is kind of argue about it. And that's just my last thoughts on the matter. What I did want to talk about is more of the Astra Militarum, the Imperial Guard Codex. Been looking into that more, getting all excited about making an army for that. And I've been kind of looking at what I didn't like. I was very positive when I first talked about it, but now that I've been looking at it, I do realize that they have taken out a lot of the stuff that kind of goes with the trend of if they don't plan on making a model for it, then it's going to be kicked out of the Codex. You see a lot of special characters got the boot. Because they were not going to make a character for it. Not going to make the actual model for that character. Oh, my nose is itchy. And then you have 3 artillery pieces that got the boot because Forge World had models for that, and obviously Games Workshop had no intention of making models for it, and that's fine, but I would like them to at least keep the rules in there. What's hurting them keeping the rules in there? On the same side, though, I do understand of I do like the idea of let's get this core rulebook out there. We support every model in this. We support that. Every unit we support it with a model. So you have this core rules where you can access anything. Then let's look about adding stuff in. When we want to add that model, when we wanted to make that model, let's data slate that. And that's another thing that people don't like. And I can see where people are coming from where they don't like the added supplements and such. Because it is like you buy this one rulebook, well then you got to pay $50 again to get the full rulebook. Because this is just the core thing. If you want to really get the good rules, you got to buy the supplement. I try to keep positive, so I'd like to think that they're just trying to add fluff and add extra rules if you want to take them. And I like the idea of focusing on getting this codex done, having support for every unit in there, and then add what you want later on, whether it be through a White Dwarf release or a Data Slate release, whatever you're looking at doing. Why not? And I like that idea. That's where I'm at on that. But that's something that I was kind of a little disappointed in for the release, was the drop of units. They really didn't add a lot in the sense of models, but they did, or units I should say. And they removed a lot. They probably removed more when you actually look at the characters and the artillery pieces. They actually removed a lot, but they did tidy everything up and made it this, this call book of this is how the army plays. These are the models you can use. And we'll see what happens later on. And I like that idea. I like how Privateer Press does War Machine and Hordes, where they have this call book. But then they can, every now and then they'll bring out a new unit, and all you have to do is pick up that unit and you get the rules with it. I like it. I really like that way, and if Games Workshop did that, I'd be so happy. But that's really it for today. I just wanted to show you guys those Nurgle pieces, talk about the rumors, and then also kind of go over some more thoughts on the Imperial Guard Codex. Next video I'm probably going to do is actually going to be a list for the Imperial Guard Codex, because I am looking at getting an army for it, and that would be, I'm really excited about that. So that'll be my next kind of video, I think. But I was just throwing that out there, you know. Once again, it's just me talking about whatever. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thought that was entertaining, thought-provoking, whatever. You know, leave, reblog it, whatever you want to do. Remember to check out Allies Index. There's been a lot of stuff recently, rumors, a lot of Magic the Gathering spoilers and such for the new releases for that. Seb's been posting like a madman. So yeah, definitely check out alliesindex.com if you're interested in getting anything painted like these cool conversions and paint jobs. Toxic Painting on Facebook. Also Tactician Toxic on Tumblr is my personal blog, although it's probably easier to go through Allies Index at this point. So I do commissions relatively cheap. If you just want to go over some things, for instance, this model to actually build was about $40. I believe the actual model itself is about $80. I don't charge for assembly unless it's something really difficult, maybe a bigger conversion or a Forge World order. So I don't charge. I just charge for the model itself and the painting. The painting on this one, $40, though Seb picked it up on a special where I was doing 50% off, so it was only $20, so $60 for this guy. But regularly it'd be about $80, which is the price of the actual Heldrake, but you get a cool one-of-a-kind conversion and paint job. This guy, you can pick these Hellbrutes up for about $15. Obviously I added some extra weapons, some extra pieces, and this guy is a fantasy model, so it probably came out to probably closer to $25-30 plus about, you know, $30-40 for the paint job you're looking at. So I mean, I'm going to be doing a video on some more toxic painting kind of prices and where I'm at, my thoughts on painting and doing commission painting. But just a quick one while I'm doing this video. My thoughts are basically, this is not the greatest commission work, and when I say that, I don't mean it's good work. It really is, and I'm not just trying to, you know, toot my own horn or put tickets on myself or whatever. It's good work, but it's not the best out there. You can be paying double the price for the best work out there. I paint at a good quality for a decent price, and I've been in that situation before where I haven't been able to paint my own armies. I've been busy working life. I've had to be paying top dollar for commission work, and sometimes I'm not happy with it. And you know, this is good quality, good price, and that's kind of my goal. I'm not looking to make myself rich. I'm just looking to, you know, make an honest buck painting models for people, and that's really what I'm out there doing. So, you know, definitely check out my stuff. You know, check out what other people have said about it. Send me a message if you want to get something done. You know, let's get something going. I'm very flexible on prices. I'm very flexible on, you know, time frames. If you need to get something done quick, I'll do it quickly. I pride myself on my speed painting. If you were around not too long ago, a couple months ago, I did a 24-hour painting challenge, and I painted up probably over 2,000 points in that 24 hours. So if you need it done for a tournament quick, I can do that. Anyway, I'm talking a bit too much more about toxic painting in this video. I wanted to make a separate video just for that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. alliesindex.com. Remember to check it out. Once again, I'm Toxic. Hope you've enjoyed. Have a good one.